Hey everybody, thanks for joining me live. Today we are going to talk about logo file formats, and we're going to be talking about these particular formats that are delivered to you in a logo design. So we're going to be talking about understanding your logo files, and I just want to say welcome if you're joining live, and also if you're watching this on a video replay. I'm glad you're here, and we can I'll introduce myself and then we can get started. So my name is Amy. I'm the creative director at My Heart Creative, and I've been designing professionally since 2006. So I love design, and I get excited and kind of geeked out about all of these sorts of things. So they are generally things that designers and professionals creating graphics care about, but when you own a company and you need to use your logo files, it is important to understand what you receive from your logo designer. So if you're a follower or a friend or a client, please say hello. That would mean a lot to me. I'd love to hear from you. And just say hi. Also, let me know if you can hear me even. That would be great. So we're gonna get going. So and I will be, if you guys are commenting, I will interact some with you in the comments. So if you're watching this later, bear with us. As we get started, I do want to send a link in the comments to a logo video that we've done previously, and that was all about logos. So about our process, about how we view logo design as a collaboration, all the details of what goes into that. So I'm going to link you to that YouTube video replay in the comments. So if you're interested in, what is a logo process like with My Heart Creative, that's a great video to check out. So I'm going to add that there. Hopefully that shows up nicely for you guys. So, and then, so if you're just ready to get right into the details, this is the video for you. When we do deliver logo files to our clients, we try to deliver everything that you might need for the future. And so those files it can be large, 40 sometimes plus megabytes for those files. So we, because most email clients only allow up to around 25 megabytes, we do send those through a file share. So understanding your logo files sometimes means even how they're delivered to you. So at My Heart Creative, we use a particular file share program and a file database for us. So when we send you those links, generally the reason is because it is a large package, which is what you want. You need all those files. So in that large package that you get, you'll want to also know that it's coming from a file share, but also know that you should download them. So they are, you've invested a lot into your logo, and this is something you're going to need often, especially as you grow. You will be asked for your files many times. This can be from vendors you're ordering things from designers, if it's not us, hopefully not, but that happens. If it's a designer, you may even need it for your internal documents, or even, you may want to sponsor a race or an event, and they're going to ask you for your logo files. So download those, make sure you have them, and then we'll get right into the format. So that's really the meat and potatoes of this video, and those are kind of what I really want to make sure that I get across to you guys. So we're going to start with the vector-based files, and I'll explain more of that as we go on. And then we're going to get into the pixel or raster-based files, and I'm going to tell you exactly what each of these are for and what they're good for and where you might need them or who you should give them to. So let's start out with the .ai file. So the .ai file is the Adobe Illustrator file. This is the file that designers want. So most really every logo is basically started in, or should be started in, Adobe Illustrator. And so that is your vector-based file, because Illustrator is a vector-based program. And it's also where you can do all of the work that you need. So the .ai file is not something you will be able to open unless you have the design software, so don't worry about that. But that file is still really important for us and for any future designer that you work with. Your .ai file is really one of the most important files. So that is a file that we would use for things like print designs, animation, swag, signage, really anything that a professional designer is going to create. They're going to probably want to use your .ai file. So let's move to the next one. Still in vector, so we're going to talk about the .eps file. So .eps is another great vector file. This is a file that you will often give to your vendors. So let's say you're ordering something that you don't need a professional designer to help you, complete the brochure or the flyer or website or whatever. You're just going to order something and put your logo on it. The .eps file is the file that is ideal for this. This would be like for a simple logo only t-shirt, for again, those like swag items, creating embroidery files, simple vehicle decals would be good. Just really anything that you're ordering without the preparation of a designer. So the .eps is good for that. Again, that's another file that you will likely not be able to open, but here we're getting to one of those. So the next file we're going to talk about is the .pdf. So this one is a file that most of us are familiar with, .pdfs. So this would be a file that's for designers, for clients, and even for vendors. This file is nice for you as a client because you will be able to most likely preview this logo. And so you can check it out, make sure it's the right version, and so on. If your designer created your PDF file from a vector-based graphic, then it will be considered vector. Now, you can create PDFs out of rastered images, and you can create PDFs even in a vector-based program by placing a pixel-based graphic and then saving it as a PDF. It's no longer vector. But generally, definitely within the logo package that we give to you, your PDF will be a vector-based graphic. So that's good for if you're wanting to, use one of the most quality files that's easily usable by you. You can use this on things like internal documents, presentations. You could even possibly use this graphic on an email signature. For us, we create web-based email signatures, but this is a great file, .pdf. Okay, so the other one is actually not something we package, checking my board, but it's a possibility. We can create it upon request. So this scalable vector graphics is really for developers, so it's not it's actually kind of a trick because it's kind of vector but kind of for digital. Pixel-based is generally for, digital graphics, not so much moving over to print. But this particular file format helps developers deliver your logo, the image of it, in the most vector-like way. It's created through code with just the abilities that we have now with code. We can write code to tell the CSS to render the graphic created in code. Kind of crazy. So that's a possibility. Again, we can deliver that for you, but that's not something that we standard package because it's just not something that you would likely use. Let's get into the raster file. So these are like the pixel based, these two should look, should be something that really we consider universal. So most people are familiar with JPEG and PNG, and if you want to, you can say JPG, but it's JPEG. No, I'm just kidding. We will start a battle in the comments. Good thing there's not a .gif or whatever GIF in here. So But let's get down to the details. So the JPEG is a really great file for digital. This is the JPEG is going to be seen, you're going to see JPEGs all over the internet. Let's just put it that way. These are for really the developer and the client. Graphic designers, while we do use pixel-based graphics a lot in our designs, it would be very rare for a designer to place your logo as a JPEG just because you lose clarity. So that's not something that we would tend to use, but we definitely use JPEGs, just not for your logo. But a developer and a client is going to use a JPEG a lot. So this is going to be, JPEGs that are on web graphics, custom emails, blogs, social media. Lots of graphics are JPEGs. Now, when we deliver JPEGs to our clients, we deliver high-resolution JPEGs, and the reason why we do that is because they are not vector-based graphics. It is, I want to make sure that if you do print them, that they look as good as possible. So, but the good news is a JPEG is very easy to scale down and optimize for the web with compression. So that's JPEG. So let's move to PNG, which is one of the most exciting files, I feel like, for a client, because this file allows you to see through the graphics. So like a JPEG, when it's delivered, there will be a white box around it. But a PNG will allow you to overlay your logo or your symbol, your icon mark with like a photo background behind it, or even a solid color behind it, but it basically allows for a transparent background. So this is something that these two files you'll be able to see in like a standard preview application. So these and the PDF, you'll be able to check, the version and see the file. So PNGs, again, they are really useful for having your logo displayed with a transparent background. And this file, when we deliver it in a logo package, we do deliver it high resolution, and we also deliver it already web compressed and optimized for you. So yours will be marked web, so you know which one is more geared for a web graphic. And so that's the PNG. So moving on to the PSD. Now this one's a little bit controversial because not everyone would suggest to deliver a PSD file, and I'll explain that. But that's the .psd, which is a Photoshop-based graphic. If you are working with myheartcreative, your logo will, and I rarely ever say never, but this is one of those cases that I can actually say never. Gosh, that's probably going to come back to bite me. You never start a logo in Photoshop. So we do deliver a Photoshop file, and I'll explain why, but it's never really truly this started in that, although it is a design software, that's the wrong one for a logo. So we deliver a Photoshop file because today more and more people have Photoshop, and so sometimes we do understand that business owners a lot of times need to do as much as they can with what they have. So, and we get that because we're a debt-free company and we work really hard to get where, just work with what we have, and that's being wise with your resources, right? So if you have Photoshop and you need to do something with your logo, you will have a Photoshop file. And that's just really the way I view partnering with and collaborating with our clients. So but it is something that I would caution that this is not vector. It won't necessarily be, it will not have the clarity of a vector-based graphic. And also when you scale it up and down, it can get pixelated. So you have to be very careful with that. But we do deliver your Photoshop files in high resolution. So that's another good thing. So as long as you're scaling it down and not bringing it back up, you should be pretty clear with that graphic. Another reason why we deliver as a standard a Photoshop file is because while really a logo that is most flexible is going to be vector-based, there are times where you might want to do a secondary version of the logo with some Photoshop treatments. Now, Photoshop treatments used to be more popular than they are now. Flat, solid graphics are very common and in trend, and one of the reasons is because it allows you to have a really flexible, long-lasting, not, one that you don't have to change as often to keep up with the trends. It's just very down to the most basic, beautiful graphics. So, but with the right particular client, we might want to integrate some sort of texture or some sort of shadow or even an image. So all the designers are going, oh. But here's why I say that. So when we create logo designs, we do not just create one logo for you. You get multiple logos when we do a design. And the reason why is because we think for the future, for your usage of the logo, what are you going to need? So you might have the primary version of your logo, then you may have one secondary version, then you may have another, and maybe one more. As few as you can keep sometimes can be better for brand awareness, and consistency is really powerful. But you might have a horizontal version, a stacked version, a badge version, an icon. So those are all the sort of things that you need within an actual logo design. So we might have, let's say I have a client that's, they have a really special image that's been a part of their company for a long time. With the right design, we might be able to work that in as a secondary version where you have some sort of logo alternative with that pixel-based graphic worked in. Now that, if that was to be done, that graphic could only be used with the right marketing materials, but it's something that could be done. Generally, what happens is you try to keep your logo designs very vector-based, very scalable, large-scale billboard, all the way down to a small business card, and you want that for your logo. But if that's not to say that you shouldn't play with, or we don't play with textures, photos, and all that integration when we're creating a graphic. So, on our Instagram, a lot of times we'll do like our logo or some lettering that was originally vector-based, and then we kind of fill in with pictures and so on. That's a really, really a better way to kind of integrate some of the additional visual aspects that you'd like to see associated with your brand. That's a lot better way to do it. But we really believe in partnering with our customers. So if they're adamant about a picture and so on, we'll find a way, and we'll advise you on how to best use that too. So that's the PSD. So I told you it's a little controversial. We've got some drama within the PSD. But these are your graphics. I hope these were helpful for you. I do have some bonus content beyond the file formats that does go along with understanding your logo files. So before we fully get out of those formats, I'm going to link you to one more great blog that we have. The other one was a video. This is a blog, so I'm going to add that in the comments. That blog, if you are just really wanting to understand more about vector versus what I'm calling pixel-based or raster, that blog will help you. And then we're going to transition into a little bit more. These are your logo files, but these are not the file formats. So I'm going to link you to a blog in the comments right now that talks about color and choosing that for your logo. So that's a good blog that goes along with these topics. So, but I beyond just the multiple file formats that you're going to need and want for your logo, you're also going to want multiple colors versions for your logo. So when we do a design, we always look at the logo in one color first. So generally that's black. Sometimes we will look at it in gray for the right client, but you want to look at it in one color. We talk a lot about this in the process video, so I'll try not to stay on this too much. But we know your logo is going to look great in black, and we know it's going to look good then in its color, because we'll explore color options as well. So when you get your logo files, you should have a white version, a black version, and a color version, which we will present and deliver to you in CMYK. So the white file is really great because of that PNG I said we all like, that you can overlay that. And you know, a lot of times you'll be overlaying a lighter logo on top of a darker image. You will have the PNG of your black logo and your CMYK. So if you're more interested into using lighter images with dark graphics, that's there too. But we deliver white. It sounds so strange because like a JPEG would, on a white logo on a JPEG would be nothing. So that particular folder doesn't have the same files, but it does have some of the vector base, and that's helpful for if you, let's say you're ordering a shirt and you know you're going to order like a purple shirt for everybody and you want to keep it as simple on your printer as possible. You could send them the vector file, your white vector file, so that version of your logo. And then just one more note about color and the logo guidelines that we deliver. When you get your logo guidelines, we will mark to you your color codes, and your color logo files will be set to CMYK. So that's for print. If we're working on a web-based graphic for you, like an additional graphic design project, and we know it's for the web, it will change it to RGB, but or a hex, you know, code there. But your logo guidelines will tell you what is your CMYK mix, what is your hex, what is your Pantone. And so we don't deliver files necessarily set to Pantone. Most printing now is done digitally because it's much more accurate than it ever has been, but also it is a lot more cost effective. So while it's pretty rare to print in Pantone these days, it's still very possible, and it can really ensure that your color is, you know, consistent with time. Well, I meant to bring my Pantone swatch book for this video, but I forgot. But with the Pantone, you can literally open up a Pantone swatch book and say, that is my color. And so that is really handy for people in the design industry, signs, shirts. We can look at the Pantone, you know, say in one state, I can look at that chip, and another chip, another state. It should be fairly similar. Now, honestly, those are still not going to be precise because, you know, what if someone's Pantone book is older? What if it was out in light? You know, just, it can be, there's always a possibility to not be absolutely perfect, but Pantone, your color code for that is the way to keep the most consistent colorings. Do keep in mind for your colors that they will look different. They will often look different because of my monitor is, you know, versus, actually I have two monitors. They don't look the exact same. A PC versus a Mac will also display your colors a little bit different. And then also, you know, a lot of times we put graphics on TVs now, and those have different color calibration. So, and even your phone. So keep that in mind with color, but the goal is to be as consistent as possible, and that's why we deliver your color codes to you, and so you can use them consistently. So that's all I have. That was the kind of like bonus, you know, what's in your package there. Content is color. If you have, this is a lot of information, so if you have any questions, please feel free to comment on this video. I'm not seeing any comments, so I'm assuming people are going to watch this live later or on a replay later. But if there is a comment that I've missed, I'll go back and look at it. But feel free to comment with questions. You can also email us, info@myheartcreative.com. I'll put that in the chat. Info. So there's our email. You can send me an email that way and I can answer your questions. Definitely, if you are a client and you have any questions about your logo, you'll notice in your logo guidelines document, it has our information and lets you know that it's okay to ask questions. So we're here for you, for your logo. We want you to be successful with the use, with the launch, the use of it, the life of the logo. We want it to last for you. We want it to be applied nicely. We do sometimes even consult on sign mock-ups from other vendors. So we're here for the success of your logo. So if you have questions about your logo files that you've received, do not hesitate to ask, and we will get you answers. And if you need help downloading them, we'll help with that too. And I'm just grateful that you watched this video. I hope this was useful information for you as you use your logos. And if you would like to collaborate on a logo design for your company, also be in touch. So thank you, and I'm going to jump off here. Bye.